What up? I got Naskin here with me. This ain't a diss song, but yeah, you know what it is. I'm a cheesehead, y'all niggas cheese whiz. Pittsburgh Steelers, that's nothing. That Super Bowl ring, that's nothing. Pull up in your town when you.
What have you seen with Barkley? Do you think it's ankle related there, or deep? I'm not sure much you've watched him last year to get much of a feel, but just what have you thought of maybe his production?
No, he's still explosive. I mean, I think there's some other circumstances that may have affected his production. I don't. There's some plays where you don't see anything from an injury standpoint. I mean, this is an explosive guy that's a home run threat when he touches it. So I mean, I know he's had fewer of those plays this year, but I don't see anything from an injury standpoint.
Hey Mike, with early in the year, you guys got off to that good start. It looked like you might be, one of the best defenses in the league, even, and it hasn't panned out the rest of the season that way. Just wondering, what do you think has happened in there?
Yeah, it's been frustrating because it's every game that we play well for stretches and we can be dominant for stretches. I mean, you look at the first 20 plays against San Francisco. And I think a lot of it is a consistency thing, and that's something that we've battled in the room. We're talking about guys that, we have to be able to focus on our jobs, be able to get in and get out of that focus, and have that kind of that every snap, that ritual of, processing the information and then locking in and being able to shut it down. And unfortunately for us, we've had too many, and we've had them at some inopportune times. So. It's a thing we talk about each week when we go back and look at the last game, and and our guys know for us to get where we want to go, we've got to become way more consistent.
Mike, for example, on a play like the Kittle long play to Kittle, is that a technique issue? Is that a communication breakdown? How does a play like that?
It was a number of things. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, or I don't specifically assign blame or as far as identifying what went wrong with particular players, but we didn't do a good enough job pre-snap gathering information and just having a solid understanding of what we were trying to get done in that situation, and we didn't play it right. I mean, credit to them. I mean, that was a heck of a play call at the time, and they executed.
Can you see, as you're watching pre-snap, that boy, we could be in trouble here, or is that not something you can tell?
No, I think it was more, just how we reacted post-snap.
Is there a frustration level to a degree, Mike, with you and the position coaches? Because a lot of times the players and yourself will say it's small things that can be corrected, and yet for many weeks we ask you kind of the same sort of thing. So is there a frustration level at any point that it's just not?
I mean, when you feel like you're not playing how you should be, or certainly not playing consistently enough how you should be, there is going to be a level of frustration, but it's not like it's coaches frustrated with play. I mean, we're all frustrated together. I mean, these are competitive guys. They're professional. They want to win. They want to get it done. And after the fact, we know it. We recognize it. But it's just we have to get break through that, or get over that hump of just having those handful of plays that are lapses, and we end up giving up explosives.
So, Mike, Matt mentioned communication, and not just on defense too. There were some issues on offense, but you're a very clear communicator, I think, in our experience. What's happening with the is it player-to-player communication that is happening, whether it's pre-snap or during the play, or what is that?
I think the emphasis this week, and because we've seen it, it is definitely it's player-to-player, but it's also coach-to-player, player-to-coach, just at all levels. When we watch film, we want our players to go ahead and make the call as they would on the field, or when we were doing our walkthroughs, make the call as they would during a game, and we've done a really good job of that. And then sometimes that doesn't carry over, and it needs to, and it's sometimes obvious on the film. When you see guys that it's clear that they didn't communicate in situations where they should, and as a staff, that we try to limit the number of times where there has to be communication, because I think that's part of it as well, especially when when we're at home and it's loud, and the fewer moving parts you can have, the better. It might be a call that's great on the whiteboard, because you have all the answers if you're checking and communicating and changing things, but those don't necessarily work out well in reality when it's noisy and it's forcing communication, and also offenses are changing their formation pre-snap. So we try to limit the amount of it, but there are certain calls there just has to be, and we just have to make sure that what we do in the meeting room, what we do in the walkthrough, what we do in our live practice reps, that's got to carry over, and that's been a big point of emphasis this week.
So I was talking to Tremont yesterday, and he said there's been some instances where not all 11 got the call. I guess as a layman, I'm not, like, you radio it into.
Sometimes it's difficult. We radio it in. If a team's going fast, sometimes it's difficult for them all to get it. I mean, we can, the guys that aren't getting back to the huddle, we have signals for that. Sometimes you feel like you had enough time and it just doesn't get communicated to all of them. So that's been just make sure that guys know, hey, whether it's the actual defensive call or whether it's, hey, I need to know something versus this formation, I got to ask for it. So, no, that's a big part of it, and that's why offenses will go up tempo, and that's something we work every week, but we just got to make sure that can't be one time in a game, one time too many. That we have to, these guys have to be focused enough and lock in when the play's over. Like, okay, look for the next call, not have it delivered to them. I mean, they got to take some ownership with that.
Can Oren help you out on pass defense? I mean, I remember when Goody drafted him, he was, he played safety at Vanderbilt, and that was kind of supposed to be part of his forte. But he's not got a whole lot of chances. I know some of that was the injury and all, but can he maybe help you out?
Sure. And there's certain packages, and they're up and active for this weekend. Sometimes it depends on what we're getting from the opponent. If our groupings are typically based on what they put out there. So we might have a group that we're anticipating playing a lot. If they don't come out in the grouping that we've worked it against, then that particular section of our defense might not get played that week. So no, he's since coming back, I think he's improved each week, and this stretch run, he's going to be a big part of what we do.
Okay, but how about in dime? Is he an option to maybe take Blake out, or is Blake just so far ahead there that?
No, I don't see that as an option from that standpoint, and it's difficult at times too when you have the guy that is a communicator, and it's rare that you'd be taking the guy with the green dot on and off the field. So that's OB is the weak side linebacker in our dime stuff. So that's a position he's learned and he's mastered. I mean, he'd be the backup at the Mike spot, but we feel good about where we are.
You've been back at this for a year and a half now. You still a proponent of the less is more? I mean, you talked about that last year, scaling down the calls, having fewer calls and doing it better.
Absolutely. Just given just the constraints from how we practice, the number of actual reps that we get, and then when you get deeper into the year, that you always want to scale back a little bit too. Shorten the day and get these guys out of here and off their feet a little bit sooner. It's hard to have, unless you have a veteran defense, guys that have played together in the same system for multiple years. It is difficult to carry a large inventory each week. So where we are right now, inventory-wise, it's not a lot, and it's just stuff that we've honed in on some things. We feel like we're doing well, and feel like we need in a particular week to shut an opponent down, and those are the things that we major in practice, but we always have to have you can't just be in 3 or 4 things. We got to be able to rep some of our other stuff, and certainly some of our third down groupings. And then game day wise, we always have a book on the sideline of other calls that we've run that we've had up. So we might not necessarily have gotten reps that week, but if a team comes out and is giving us something totally different, we can at least pull it out and go ahead and we've had to do that a few times. No, but I agree with you that it's still this still is a less is more type mentality here for sure. I think if you can dress it up what you're doing, that it's easy for you. You can be multiple, or you can be fairly simple, but it appears multiple to the other side of the ball. That's the best scenario.
So, Mike, when you've done this as long as you have you had a season where you got off to a strong start, you hit some adversity and some struggles, and then you were kind of able to get it back? And if so, what's the key to that for these last 5 games to get back to being what you guys were?
Well, I think the biggest thing, and that what we all have to master as football coaches and players is that ability to compartmentalize. That when a week is over, good or bad, we put it behind us and we're on to the next one. So we don't change our approach, our mentality. That we each week we start it fresh, and hey, who do we have available? What are we defending? What is best to defend this team? And we work it that week, put the plan together, and work it that week. So. No, I just think that we've tweaked some things, and as we're moving forward, still feeling like this is a relatively new unit, a bunch of new faces, and half the coaching staff new. So I mean, we're still finding out who we are at times, but I still you feel good about where you are after this many games, knowing hey, we get hot at the right time, we keep plugging away, get hot at the right time, then. Then that's obviously we can get to where we want to go.
2 more, please. Have you been happy with when you have dialed up some pressures, whether it be from Blake or some of your DBs? Have you been happy with the production there, or what you hope to get out of it? I know it's not always going to be a sack, but maybe there's a victory on the other end of that.
Sure. I mean, I think overall, for the most part, our pressures we've probably had more what we would consider wins on a down than losses. I think I haven't been overdoing it just because the ability to get there with 4, and we've been able to generate pretty consistent pressure. But we just have to make sure at times when we pressure that on the back end too that those two work together. We got to run the pressure right to get it home, and then on the back end anticipate. Hey, there's a chance we get home on this. You got to have that mentality. We got a chance to take the ball.
Oh yeah, young moolah baby.